Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, coach, God lover, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera. And here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show that a comeback is more than possible. And today, I'm honored to bring on my guest. Her energy is through the roof. I knew when we first met that there was synergy there. And man, I just love the way she brings the fire. And y'all are going to enjoy this. She's a coach, a trainer, a work-life in harmony expert. And man, Coach Anna Joe, you are phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm so honored to have you on as a guest, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm here. Let's go. I'm here.
I love it. So, man, I've heard your story, but some people in the audience might not have, and I can't tell your story the way you can. Nobody can. So I'd love for you to share your story and experience with the audience.
Yes, for sure. So my name is Anna George, right? But call me Coach Anna Joe. And I will share that story because there's a story behind there. But first, I'm Portuguese. So the accent, if you kind of where she's from, I'm Portuguese from Lisbon. I was born, raised there, and all my education was there. And I started to work my career as a chemical engineer in the food industry there. All right. And I stay like in the corporate world as a scientist, as a researcher first, and then a team leader in a global organization in Europe. So started in Portugal, then I lived in different countries like Spain, Paris, France, and then UK. And then I moved here. And all that move, it was through the mergers and acquisition, which means a lot of change happened without my control, right? Every time I was being established with the career aspirations, something happened in a merger and acquisition and suddenly looked like I didn't have a job. But then, always aspiring for overcome adversity. And that was actually each move I did, it was something that came for better. And I had a dream, an American dream, coming to live to America because one of the mergers and acquisitions was an American company acquiring, becoming global. And that was the dream. And that happened 9 years ago, which I moved here with my family, my husband and one child in that time. And being so passionate about people development, teams, leadership, and it was actually the thing I loved. And it was actually one of the things, and my superpowers was transforming teams to be high-performing teams. It was the thing I was loving the most. And being a team leader and then team leader of teams of scientists, that's was kind of where I did. But here in US, the passion of leadership, the people development plus entrepreneurship, the possibility. So I decided to become a life coach, executive life coach, a trainer and a speaker. And then I quit my job and now I am Coach Anna Joe. Coach Anna Joe happened because actually, you know what I mean? When I had this idea from Anna George to write my first blog post, and that happened 7 years ago. All right. So let me put my voice out there. I didn't have the courage to write and sign with my name because being a leader in the corporate world kind of get me that anxiety and fear of judgment. So I couldn't write my name. And Anna Joe is the person who signed the first blog post and over this person that was born inside of me with a voice. And that's why I'm Coach Anna Joe from there.
Oh man, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm curious because throughout that journey, coming to America, not speaking fluent English, and also the the transition from going from your 9 to 5 to becoming an entrepreneur, there's challenges through all that, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about some of those challenges that occur.
Yeah. So you mentioned very well, like actually English when I transitioned here was actually less than a problem. But the first time I got a problem was when I moved to Spain. And if you think Portuguese could speak Spanish perfectly, it's not true. So that was my first problem, was the barrier of the language, which I was in a manufacturing site. Because remember, that time I was a scientist. I was in a manufacturing site. My corporate was in industry, right? So like manufacturing and like leading teams there in the manufacturing to implement the designs that of the products in the food industry to get the lines working. Imagine a Portuguese trying to talk like as we call Portunhol, right? So it's like, oh my God, it was my first challenge. But then I moved to Paris. I didn't speak French as well. And so like, oh my God, I need to learn French. Actually, I didn't have time to consolidate my French. But then, English was the base for us to speak. We like across Europe, actually, was English. So when I moved to US, actually it was English. It was kind of like less than a problem, but true. So change and moving here, and then the change for corporate, right? So the 9 to 5, which actually I don't like to call 9 to 5 because it was not the 9 to 5, right? So in that time it was not the 9 to 5 already, but it was a corporate with a paycheck to paycheck, right? So that was true. To the entrepreneurial life, it was a big change, but that's something. So it took me 4 years to make that happen. So there was some development. So there was some plan A and then plan B because COVID happened. And so I like to say that because it was not like I wake up and I want to be an entrepreneur and I quit and I move on, right? So it was something that actually I planned and actually that I had a backup and grew like on me to be as well as a person, not only like financially and make sure that, kind of the things I have my backup plan, but as personally, I grew the identity of an entrepreneur. And that was very important. That was very, very important.
And what did growing that identity, what came with that? Because I'm sure there's challenges that come with building that identity. I mean, I know because I've had to create that identity also. But when you transitioned from the corporate job to the entrepreneur, what were the challenges that came up at that moment, in those moments?
So first is like the risk. So the capacity to take risks. I think that's the first one when you leave the stability of a really good salary, a paycheck, with the benefits and have children and, so have a family, which, look, I was the breadwinner, right? So I was moving with my family. So I was the breadwinner at that time. So that was something that it was really a challenge for me. And grew like, what type of risks is that? So is it about like taking the risk? So the learning here and grew, like you asked, like what grew, what's the difference, right? So it was before, but there was a comfort. Right. So before, when I was like taking risks didn't mean the same when I became an entrepreneur. Now is my life. Now when I make a decision is like in the game is like, am I going to do this? And it's like my family. So the values really play a big role. So before it was okay, but it was safe. That's kind of where I'm feeling. And I moved. So I'm, like, I don't have like, I'm an immigrant, but my family, we don't have immigrants. They are all in Lisbon, in Portugal, right? So I didn't have that role model. So every time I changed, it was already some kind of change and there was a risk, but they was protected by the organization I was moving. Even if you think like, be part of an organization with so much layoffs, you never know. And I was redundant each time almost, right? So there's kind of not safe, but when you are an entrepreneur, you start to become your own boss. You make the decisions by yourself. Look, it's you and you, right? So it's just like the responsibility really is bigger. I would say like that. So the values had to be clear. So to be your baseline in terms of how you make decisions, and that helped me. That helped me a lot in terms of to get the baseline in terms of I can take risks. I can trust in myself. And that was a big thing in terms of personal development.
How scary, I mean, because listen, I believe in order to overcome perseverance, in order to achieve perseverance and overcome adversity, I should say, we have to take healthy risks, right? It's a big part of raising the bar and taking life to the next level and overcoming challenges. What did that look like for you to overcome? Let's talk about like that first healthy risk coming out of the corporate world, realizing that, you know what? Oh shit, I don't have a paycheck that's automatic. Yeah. I have to create that paycheck, right? Yeah. That's the first healthy risk, right? Because that's when you start realizing that, you know, when you take that healthy risk and you overcome that challenge, you realize that you create your own destiny.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what was that like? What started coming up in your mind when you realized, damn, shit, there's no paycheck coming. I got to go out there and make this shit happen, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So there's two things. So one is get like a, you know, when you call about financially and have like 1 year that is safe, right? So you have 1 year like to make this happen. And actually, you know, like you have 1 year, like it's not much. You have 1 year, like, all right, you make this happen in 1 year. So, and then we, you know, my husband, right? So, you know, play a big role here. And in that time, he started to compensate. All right. So he grew as well his business, but it was in the corporate world. So there was a compensation there as well. And I'm talking about financially, because we're a family of 4, financially, because that was a big thing as well as financially. So now not having a paycheck, can we maintain our lifestyle? So that all kind of like was assessed. And how can we do this, right? So that was the part of the kind of the baseline, say how long do we have to trust in ourselves to make this grow. So the second one, and this is where came like as well the planning, and I think plays a big role here, is what are your skills and competencies to make a business grow? And look, if I thought I had it, now I'm learning I don't, you know, I'm developing, but that willingness always to look like who I need to become, what do I need to develop, right? So who do I need to know, right? Where do I need to be, right? So really have the understanding like what are the main skills that you need to have to become an entrepreneur. I think that's essential. And that doesn't come like, oh, I have this idea, I'm going to start and quit my job. I told her like it took me 4 years having a side hustle and develop that side hustle as a business and growing, make me confident that when I leave corporate and now I'm by myself, I have 1 year to make this happen. That's where kind of my belief was. So I would say there was healthy risks here, but it's in a timeline, Joe. Yeah. So I actually burned the boats. All right. That's the truth. I burned the boats. So, and that urgency, I believe that urgency is something that could be some fuel for you to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like that hunger, like I need to make this happen. It can't be like that. It's not working like, what do I need? Who do I need to know? Who do I need to talk to? You know what I mean? And have that power to make that happen. And I think that is also an healthy part that you can use in your favor to move where you want to go.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's powerful what she's saying. I hope everyone's paying attention to that, because not only, you know, taking the healthy risk, but being clear on her target and putting a timeline on that target was vital for her success, and being able to take that healthy risk and overcome the challenges that come with that. So I'm curious though, like throughout this journey of this transition, going from the corporate world, coming into entrepreneurship, there's the challenges that come up. There's limited beliefs that continue to attack the belief system. Mm-hmm. What were those like? What were those limited beliefs that you had to face and overcoming, that you might still be overcoming?
I am. That's one. You want to say like one, a big one, selling. Look, I think I missed that piece. I thought I was kind of ready, but selling, put yourself out there and offering your services is a big thing for someone that has a certain level, is at a certain level in your, and is not using, not selling. I was managing teams of design, new products, innovation centers, and then implemented in manufacturing sites. That's what I was doing. Engineers, PhD people who create things, and then was my world. The max I was doing was influence senior leaders, my stakeholders, you know what I mean? Influence. When you go to an entrepreneur and you have an idea and you have a service that you believe so much, the big learning, and I think that was something that I'm still like priming, is about selling, the art of selling. Because the first thing is not thinking that you are selling, right? It's that you're offering your services. And that is a skill that it's take time. So honestly, if I knew what I know today, right? So I don't know what I did today, like in my 4 years side hustle, that was something that I would invest more on myself. It was actually like the skills of having the heart of selling, honestly. Yes.
And so when it came to selling, because selling, I just want to be clear to the audience, selling is probably the most important piece to you building a business. You have to be able to sell. Selling has to become a way of life for you if you want to succeed, or your business is going to fail. I mean, that's just what it is.
You got it.
You can't survive without it. So what challenges or what beliefs hit that belief system about selling?
It's taking money from other people. My paycheck was safe. It was good paycheck, but it was in my bank account. When I was influencing, I did end, would you give me your credit card? Do you want a credit or debit? I won't end like that. You know what I mean? Never, Joe.
Right,
Now,
right.
going through the scripts, going through like, oh my God, and the rejection. People say no to me, to the great things I'm offering. Can you believe it? It's like, oh my God. Like, they're saying no to the great things I'm having? Like, and take it personal, but you know what? You do it more. And that's it. You do it more. And take, but you don't do this. Like, you're asking about the difference. This is a big difference.
Yeah.
It's influence is not selling. We kind of I was doing presentations. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, in the board meetings. But selling someone that don't know me or know me kind of and saying no to my great service of coaching that really make transformational results, and you're saying no because what? Right? Yeah. And that is the big thing, is fear of rejection, and also really the practice. And like you said so well, is being the way of life. And before it was not like that. It was not like that. And though there's so many layers in terms of limiting beliefs about selling, right? Mm-hmm. So when there is a transaction, and getting the transaction and plus the rejection, it makes complex in terms of if you take it for yourself. So free for that, right? So we just be not attached to the outcome, but and keeping believing that your service is the best you can do. You are offering is a big shift, but it's not over time. You got to be doing it to learn and be in feeling, right? And get the feeling, and the emotions be a way of living. Fine.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, having that belief system and confidence in yourself comes from doing it over and over and over and over again. Because what? Repetition's the mother of skill.
Oh,
right. The more you practice something, the better you're going to get at it. So if you have a pitch out there, practice your pitch every day. Michael Jordan didn't become the best at what he did by not practicing. The guy was the first guy on the court, the last guy to leave. Same thing with Kobe Bryant, right? It's the same thing with your sales.
Absolutely.
In order to take your sales to the next level, you got to practice every day. And you mentioned something about, being able to influence people and being able to sell someone, right? There's a difference with being able to influence someone and then closing someone you don't know and asking for the order, right? You could have the greatest conversation with somebody, but at the end of the conversation, if you're afraid to ask for the order, you're not going to get the sale. You got to ask for the order. I mean, what's the credit card? What's the 9-digit social security number? Whatever business you're in, right? But there's so many different ways. You got to be able to do it, and you can't be afraid to ask for the order. And that's something as an entrepreneur that when you first get into that field and you start going out there, you're onto the wheels. You're scared to ask for that.
That's huge.
That fear is there.
Huge.
So
that's huge.
What did you do to overcome those fears?
I did several things. I'm still doing it. All right. So first I got the coach, right? It's a coach specific like to sales. And then I read so many books. All right. So even like Zig Ziglar, the classics, I did, like got in there. Even Grant Cardone, like there's so many books that I went through selling. But there's one thing that overcame, and this is actually the last year. And because I was having this, I say it's limiting belief, but I had this belief that to sell, for instance, I don't need a script. And I learned I need a script. All right. So a script is actually necessary. And I know some people have opinions about that. And I had so much opinions, and I'm reframing actually, it's needed to have a script. And then you adapt. For sure, you need to be natural. You know what I mean? And then it's yours. And, like whatever it is. But that was a big difference to overcome. So, and then learning how to use scripts, right? So, I did one thing actually was quarter three last year. So it was around September, something like that. I started to run Facebook ads to a consultation call, right? So cool, and then I started to have a setter, like to do the call, to do the booking, the call. It was a free call, imagine, a free call. But so I was going to run the consultation calls, right? I run a lot, and that is making practice. But there's one thing else, like I said, now I need to go to the next level, which means I'm going to be the setter. It means I'm going to be the first contact to the person who put the name and phone number. And I did that 100 times. Oh my God. People told me things like 100 times. Okay, the 100 times there was like that more than half, didn't pick the phone, right? So it's like, okay. But the things I heard about myself, like they don't know me. They just hang on me. They told me names. They told me things. You know what? Yeah. I was not prepared, but I was like, I need to do this. I need to do this. And I put myself for need to do this. It is like until 100, I'm going to be here doing this because I need this to actually be prepared. You just go to the gym and then you go in, you got to do it. You got to do it. This is what practice was a gym for me. Oh my God, other things I listen. Like, he doesn't know me. Perhaps I need to send the LinkedIn. You know what I mean? The ego of the status that I came from. And now there's like, I'm someone that I'm saying hi. I'm saying, look, I have something great to offer. Look, sometimes you don't even go there, but just like relatability. Oh, are you just to get something, right? So, but that means do the job. And that's kind of like the most uncomfortable thing. Do it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. Sales is such a humbling experience, isn't it?
Oh my God. Just like
man, it's such a humbling experience. And something that's really important, she brought up handling rejection. And for the audience, I want to express how vital this is to be able to handle the rejection and understand that you're going to get no's more than you're going to get yes. Absolutely. And every no that you get gets you closer to that yes, gets you closer to that sale. Don't give up before the miracle happens. Don't give up before the biggest sale of your life happens.
Yeah.
So you start learning how to overcome these limited beliefs, right? And you continue to use those tools to overcome them. When we crack through limited beliefs, there's some core values that start appearing in our life. right? Because those limited beliefs, they're like blinders, right? They blind us. They put blind spots on, and once we crack through those limited beliefs, those blind spots start coming down, and your view gets wider, and your perspective starts changing, and core values begin to get uncovered. What core values were uncovered for you that you utilize now when those limited beliefs come up and those challenges come up, the core values that you lean into?
So I have three core values, but I add one. Perhaps I think I have my mantra. So it's kind of an additional for my core values. So I have three things in terms like that. This is what I want my children learn from me, which is love, respect, and integrity. Those are the three things. And love is love for yourself, love for life, love, like to live with love, like open up, right? So it's like, for me, the definition of love is bigger than only, is love, like love what you do, love, like love. Integrity, because, like stay in your lane, like what I say you're going to do, like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and respect. And like I've been like moving so much and changing, like even in the company, but like going to different cultures, different languages, like a respect comes, like being curious, but respecting the other, always with the intention of respecting the other. And that's something that, like it comes like, oh my God, respect. And respecting the family is one of the big things, that respect each other, right? It's kind of like, okay, I'm safe here if there is respect, like kind of like how I build my core values. But there's one thing that come up and is my mantra. So, and I think it's going to underline my values, and it's revealing more and more within my entrepreneurial journey, which is I can do hard things, and believing that the effort I put on, the result will come. Perhaps there will be different iterations, but if I believe I can do hard things, and that stay there, because the result will come. And it's something that is working for me in my journey in entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's so important. The three values she mentioned: love, respect, and integrity. You got to love the people around you, but you got to love yourself first. And same thing with integrity. In order to be a person of integrity, you can't be a person of integrity to everybody else without being a person of integrity to yourself. When you make a promise to yourself, stick to it. And hold yourself accountable, and find a coach or a mentor that's going to be able to hold you accountable for that. Which leads me to something else you mentioned that I think is really important, that I kind of want to bring up. You mentioned about how important it was for you to hire a coach and to invest in yourself, to grow, to take yourself to the next level.
Yes.
And it's so important, for everybody listening, to be able to realize how vital that is, to invest in yourself. At what point in your journey did you start realizing, shit, you know what? I'm not going to do this by myself. I got to go out and I got to go get help. I got to invest in myself. I got to put myself in rooms with other people who are ahead of me so that I could get ahead of the game.
Yeah. So throughout my journey, like in the corporate, so I think that was a given. The trainings, the offsites, right? We call retreats, leadership retreats. And, there was a lot on that, including mentors, and especially because I was in the leadership, like track. So there was a lot came with that, right? So I had like an executive coach. So I had that experience. And then I was mentor as well. So that was the experience from the corporate itself. It came already with some guidelines. What is that about? Asking for support, having a sponsor, having a mentor, that came already throughout my years in corporate. And each time I would change, that would like another. It was not a coach, right? So, but it was a coach. They call a coach, but I would call the coach the expat coach, right? So to transfer you and your family to settle. So there was this, but investing your money that's a different story again, Joe. Investing your money, come from your money, your income, doing an investment to support your dreams, your transformation, your goals is a big difference. So I was saying that I had that from corporate, like in the form to reach my goals and, develop my career in the corporate, in the organization I was. But there was a big, big change. And honestly, I'm telling you that because I reflect a lot in terms of, am I putting this money to someone to meet me? You know what I mean? And I had you know what I mean? And I wanted to be a coach, imagine. But that is really key. You got to invest on yourself, right? So, and that happened in 2018. So it was the first time I invest myself. I'm going to say this again, invest myself on a coach. Previously, I did invest in therapists, right? So I had some therapists, also because I went to school again, psychology university. And then there was the leadership, there were therapists that, work with us, and then from there I invested. I consider that as well because I didn't know about coaches, right? So I invested in therapists to help him through my personal development journey. Do you know what I mean? I think I did that. But to invest, a big investment, it was 2018 the first time. But once I started, I saw the power that your accountability, right? Because you do the investment, your accountability is immense. It's just grows so much. And the support, that you got from a coach, and it's your life. It's your life. You decide your life, right? It makes all the difference. And from there, I always had coaches and then expanded with masterminds, with the group coaching, and then depend of the needs that I have specific. I think after 2018, I had coaches for everything, including because I had 7 years ago, right? So I had my girl. And then she couldn't sleep. Even for that, I had a coach to coach me to put her to sleep. So, I'm a fan. I'm a coach, right? So I'm a life coach. So it's I'm a big, big fan to have someone to support in all specific things that you need. And, it's something that I'm really advocate, but it's where I am, right? So I am one, of course, I hire another one. That's kind of how I see it, right? So, but as well, things like another part of investment, which was new for me, Joe, I think it's important, is also investment on networking not events, like networking groups, which could be masterminds, but investment on where you can meet people that, can challenge you and support you and cheerleader for you for the next level. And that's important because also I had this in my mind, for instance, coming from the corporate, that was a given. Each level I was going, I had the network, whatever it was. There was some type of group organized, but it was a ladder, right? So it was not in my control. Then when I started to the entrepreneurial life, there was this part where there was oh, should I pay for this membership? Do I need to pay for this? No. And then I started to think through oh, but yes, now, okay. So this came again from your investment, where you put your money, right? So, and you start to get analyze in terms of what you want to do with your life. But yes, for personal development, but also the networking, who you meet, kind of pay for that places is another part that I think it's important to mention.
Oh man, that's so vital. Listen, you are your biggest investment. I don't care what you invest in. You invest in stocks, you invest in real estate, oil and gas, all that's great. Nothing's going to give you a bigger return than investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And the more money you spend on yourself, the more you're going to pay attention.
Yeah.
So, man, scared money don't make money, guys. You got to be able to go out there and put that money into the biggest asset you have, which is yourself. Man, thank you for sharing that because it's so important for the audience to really hone in on that and how important it is. So, Anna, man, you're a person of energy. Your energy, whenever you're in a room, lights up the room. What brings your spirit alive?
People. That's true. I love it. I love them fun. I don't love people, right? That's true. I'm an extrovert, which means I got the energy from people. True. And that's what gets me going, right? Either my family at home, like going to where we met, like Anna said, I'm really there present because I consume the energy from the room. Like, I love it. I love it. There's nothing I love the most is be surrounded with people that, get me, right? So get me means get the same, have the same vibe and make me laugh, and I love that. And I think it's not difficult to find that group as well, but I love to get that group and be surrounded by, and waking up like in the morning and meeting my clients is something that, energize me. All right. So even like it's like that now, we do mostly Zoom. I have in person as well, but energize me, like honestly, and that make me laugh. Yeah, I love my job. I love it. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, man, energy attracts like energy, and that's why it's so important to surround yourself with like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Because they're going to give you that energy that you need to be able to take your life and your business to the next level. And so, Anna, let the audience know, where they could find you, what you're doing now, and where they could find you and all that good stuff, what you have going on.
Yes. All right. So, so I am a life coach, an executive life coach. So how supports, I would say it's not only women, but my main clientele are women who are in transition, right? So, and want to achieve their work-life harmony, not balance, harmony. And this means, like as a transition in their lives that they have like, now what am I going to do? Because I'm tired to do the same thing, and I need help to overcome these limiting beliefs and have this power to believe in themselves for the next level of their lives. So this is what I do. So I have my services are one-on-one coaching service. So it's a 6-month program called Work-Life Harmony. As well, I have a group coaching called the Science of Perfection School. And this is something that I'm doing right now, Joe, which is about like, I'm a researcher and a scientist for nature, right? So all my life I've been dealing with scientists, and science is my game. So now I'm bringing this to personal development, and I'm doing a research regarding perfection, because there's 2 things on perfection. Can I say this here, Joe? Yeah. So 2 things on perfection. One, there's so much people hold back to dream big and get the impossible goal, right? And it's like, oh no, it's not perfect. My life is not perfect, and it's good. But it's good to have big goals. It's the impossible goal, right? So it's good to have it. And I call that as a perfection. Like, that's aiming perfection. Now, how do you keep working to achieve perfection? Is with imperfect actions. And that's what also hold people back, because taking imperfect actions in your day-to-day make them not doing it. So I am researching what would be here the tweak to interview 100 leaders. They are successful. They make through, right, to understand really what can I talk about to become the science of perfection, because I am a scientist and I know I'm going to crack the formula. All right. That's what I'm doing as well. So I want to share this here with you. And you can find me at Anna Jo Talks in Instagram. I'm very active in Instagram. Coach Anna Jo, Anna George on LinkedIn as well. I'm active there. Facebook as well. And if you want to, you can reach me out like on my website is annajocoaching.com. Yes.
Oh, awesome, man. Well, that's going to be the show notes for the listeners. And man, Anna, there's a few things that I ask all my guests. And the first one is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
Okay, purpose means that you live life on your own terms with a big goal.
Love that. Life on your own terms. And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind?
Transformation. That's what comes to mind. Transformation.
Yes.
Transformation on your own terms.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
And I think of you because of your podcast.
Yeah, it does. Oh, man. So there's somebody out there struggling right now, and they don't know how to create their own comeback. What's one tip you could give someone who's looking to reforge their life?
Ask for help. Ask for help. That's the one tip. Who can you call? Who could you call? And if you can call, who can you find? Where could you go? That you make feel better. You believe. That is the first step for something greater.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, everybody listening, you don't have to do it by yourself. All you got to do is say, I need help in this situation, and I promise you there's going to be a bunch of people that are out there looking to help.
Absolutely.
They're out there. People love to help others.
Absolutely.
Man, Anna, this has been awesome. One last thing. What's one thing the audience doesn't know about you that you do for fun?
I dance.
Okay.
I dance, yeah.
All right.
Sometimes I go to dances classes. I dance at home. I love go clubbing and dance. I love dancing.
Look at you, girl.
I love it, yes.
Love it. All right, man. Anna, listen, man, this has been great. I really appreciate you coming on and being a guest here. I knew that our energy attracted like energy when we met. I mean, we both say it, and I mean, this podcast exceeded my expectations, which I didn't know was possible, but it did, because you're just phenomenal.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you. And for all the listeners and viewers, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for checking out the podcast. And I'm going to reach out and ask for a favor like I always do. I'm going to ask you to subscribe, like, and most importantly, share the episode, because there's somebody out there. I promise you, there's somebody out there that's not listening, that's struggling right now. And they're looking to reforge their life. And they don't have the tools. They don't know what tools to be able to reforge. So by you sharing the episode, it might give them a tool that they could use to reforge their life. Everyone, stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.